I think most of the people in the room have probably more experience than I do as to what the rules and regulations are. I've got them listed, but I'm assured that the two teams on either side of me are very, very aware of them, and they've heard it at least 3 times already, so I won't bore you with it too much. But I'm delighted and I'm really excited about the topic because it definitely is one that's on a lot of people's minds at the moment. And the topic today is vegan diets are better for people and planet. To discuss. So we have 2 teams, the finalists today, that are going to do that, and we've got both CAFRE and WIT. Proposing the motion for the team today will be CAFRE, and opposing the motion are the team in WIT, and obviously their opinions given today are for debating purposes and will not be in any way held against them at any point going forward. So we have 3 fantastic judges as well today that I want to introduce you to. We have got Brendan Gleeson, who is the Secretary General of the Department of Agriculture. He's technically my boss, I'd say, in many ways, so we better just show him adequate respect from all here. He's the Secretary General that was appointed in October of 2018 and had obviously previously been Assistant Secretary in a number of different posts throughout the Department of Agriculture. He is the brains that's leading Ireland's position on Brexit from an agricultural perspective, so any hard questions, we know where to put them. But as well as that, he's been looking after a number of the state agencies and sitting on the board of Tagasc as well. So he has a BSc in Management and Law from Trinity College and a diploma in Law and Public Administration. So we're looking forward to working with him today as well. We're also joined by Elaine Sterlo from McDonald's, and Elaine is a long-term passionate connection to McDonald's, so she's moved right the way through all of the different management roles for McDonald's, and she's opened her first franchise for them in 2002, and she's growing that now to 5 restaurants in Monaghan, Navan, Drogheda and Balbriggan, and she runs that with her husband Glenn and her 5 children, and she currently employs 290 people. She has flagged to us that she knows how to manage a good debate with 5 children, so she feels particularly qualified today as well. And then last but by no means least is Niall Brown, CEO of Dawn Meats and also a board member of Board Bia, so we're delighted to see him here today. And he's been appointed as the Chief Executive since 2007 of Dawn Meats, and he oversees the extensive operations and revenues of over €2 billion and employs over 7,000 staff in 8 countries. And he's graduated from the University of Limerick with a business studies degree in marketing and agribusiness, and then he's joined through the Dawn Meats graduate programme and has obviously progressed through the organisation, working in many different sites between Ireland and the UK. And obviously he's been one of the huge drivers behind so much of the new product awards and the sustainability dimensions that Dawn has become world leading on and internationally recognised as well. So we're delighted to be joined by our esteemed judges today. Obviously social media is a very important avenue for everybody as well, so there is a tag here, Agri-Food Debate, if people want to use that as well. So without any further delay, let me just very briefly walk you through the rules one final time. There's one slight difference this time to the rules in that it is a maximum of 5 minutes rather than the previous length of it. The speaker has first 1 minute, a bell will ring, and then it'll proceed on for a further 4 minutes. No one can interrupt in that first minute for any speaker. Whilst we absolutely do encourage points of information, reasonable heckling, ideally no throwing, but if you do go over the top on the heckling, obviously that could risk any penalty points as well. But people don't have to accept your point of information, they can just say no thank you to that as well. As you'll have seen, our judges are operating completely separately. They will all score you individually, and those scores will then be added and taken away from them so that they can then decide, and David again, the wonderful gentleman, will be adding up all of those scores and providing me with the key winning team and announcing that for us as well. So let me now call on our opening speakers to get the motion underway. So we have as the opening proposition speaker, Stephanie. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, adjudicators, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen. We, the CAFRE team, are delighted to be standing in front of you all here today as the newcomers from across the border in the final of the 2019 Great Agri-Food Debate. Firstly, we would like to thank UCD and IT Tralee for their great sportsmanship in our quarter and semi-final debates, alongside WIT for the fantastic facilities we have all been provided with over the past few days. We are standing before you this afternoon to passionately propose that vegan diets are better for people and the planet. Just a quick question. Did you enjoy your lunch? I must admit, the beef stroganoff looked delicious. But I decided that in the theme of the day, I would try a portion of the spicy sriracha sweet potato stir-fry, which was outstanding. Yes, the Great Agri-Food Debate, sponsored by Don Meats and McDonald's, is accommodating veganism. That has to tell us something. Veganism can be described in many ways. However, the Cambridge Dictionary states, veganism is the practice of not eating or using any animal products, such as meat, fish, eggs, cheese or leather. There has been a huge shift in the what and why of food consumption in the past few years. So, we assume veganism is a relatively new trend. Would you agree? Wrong. Veganism has been around for many years, as early as the 1800s. This was ingrained even before our traumatic potato famine in 1845 to 1851. As traditional as the Act of Union, this is not a passing trend, a notion, a social media drive. It's a really important life choice for many people all around the world. Veganism is a lifestyle, not a diet, and it would be disrespectful of us to ignore this important choice for the people of our society. It is estimated that 8% of the Irish population are vegetarians and 2% are vegans, which is at least 2 people here in the audience today. Veganism is here, and it's here to stay. As the saying goes, sure, it's been around since the famine. We do not only acknowledge this, but we recognise that veganism is the future for our people and our planet. We, the proposition, are not here today to dispute the farming industry and the hard work they do. We are not here to talk about taking calves away from cows.
Information. You're suggesting vegan diets are better veganism. You just said veganism. Is that not taking away, you want to stop taking away babies from mothers, and that's the whole thing. Vegan diets relates back to veganism.
I will answer your point of information in my further speech. We are not here today to talk about calves away from cows and that pigs have feelings too. We are not here to promote racial vegan protests and acts of violence. We stand here today as representatives of different farming sectors: sheep, dairy, beef and arable. As so, if a farmer is standing here telling you today that veganism is better for the people and the planet, you best believe it. Sir Brad Pitt, Meghan Markle, Beyonce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. So we'll give the judges just a moment at this point to note their scores. Niall is obviously giving a real studied response to this one. So, judges have agreed their scores at this point. I'll call on Michael as the Leader of the Opposition to give his perspective.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chairperson, judges and members of the opposition. My name is Michael Doran and I am here, along with my teammates, to passionately and strongly oppose the motion that vegan diets are better for people and planet. But it is with great pride that myself and my teammates have been given this opportunity to stand up here today and argue something that we are so passionate about as a group and that will affect our futures, both directly and indirectly. So let us take a deeper look at this motion. Vegan diets stem from veganism, which is a philosophy defined by their own society as the practice of avoiding all forms of animal exploitation, whether that be through cruelty to animals or avoiding all, whether that be through dietary consumption or the wearing of animal-derived clothing on oneself. A society which encourages us to indulge in a plant-only based diet and to receive our essential vitamins and minerals through that of a plant format. We are an educated generation, but it does not take being educated to inform you that there has never been a generation on this earth that has survived on a diet of plants and berries. So what does better actually mean, as this title suggests? More desirable, satisfactory, or more effective? When referring to the planet, we talk about every part of this world in which we live in, which was formed over 4.5 billion years ago, and those who occupy it, man, woman and beast, and the ecosystems in which they live. So who are the people in which these vegan diets are more desirable for, as the opposition suggests? These are the members of society. They are the citizens of our country. They are your mother, your father, your brother or your sister, and they are consumers as well as producers. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that the team facing me now are the team which are jeopardising not only yours, but your families and your very loved ones' own futures. By choosing a vegan lifestyle, you are posing a threat to agriculture, and not only to the welfare of people and a nation, but also to economic stability. Veganism, at its rapid growth, will not just affect you, it will not just affect your kids, and it will affect your grandkids. Do you seriously think that in 20 and 30 years' time that those who are continuing your legacy are suffering dearly at the hands of these people who have failed to take action against an epidemic which is now trendy and cool to be a part of? I'm delighted to introduce our first speaker, Shane Geraghty, who will talk you through the environmental impact that veganism is having and what it will do by switching to a vegan diet impact so significantly on our ecosystem. With facts and figures, he will inform you and prove to you that this green diet that looks so good on paper impacts so negatively in so many ways not yet publicised. Our second speaker, Michael Martin, will talk to you about the hidden and often unspoken health consequences, giving us a powerful and rare insight into his stark introduction into what is veganism. Our third and final speaker, Danielle Mulligan, will talk to you about the economic risks and dangers to people's jobs and what promoting a vegan diet will do to your economy, and the people who provide the food to feed this precious planet. The proposing team may try and brainwash you by telling us with their vegan propaganda and silly scare tactics, but we do not need to forcefully shove our opinions on you, but rather educate and improve consumer awareness to what is now a global phenomenon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my team, and I advise you to listen carefully and listen attentively. I think this goes without saying. Protect your future, protect your family's future, and protect your future's future.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. So we'll once again wait for the judges to note their scores. And that done, I'd now like to introduce you to Shane, the second speaker from the opposition team.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chairperson, adjudicators, members of the proposition, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shane Gertie, and I am here to oppose the motion previously outlined by Michael. Now, we have and we will be listening to facts and figures from the proposition today. A scare tactic that vegans have used over the last number of years, and one which I hope will not work on you. I'm sure most of you here today heard about the Waterford butcher, who only last week was being terrorised by a vegan activist, merely stating what these people are capable of. However, the WIT team will not be terrorised by the proposition here today. On November the 8th, 2018, the Collins Dictionary added the word vegan to its list of new and notable words from the past 12 months. Other words on this list were plogging, a Scandinavian fitness craze, and gaslight, a method of manipulating others by leading them to question their sanity. I feel vegan fits well in here alongside a craze and a mental disorder. All three certainly have a lot in common. The proposition may try to blame animal agriculture for global warming and fill you with vegan propaganda. The real facts and figures, however, are that the greenhouse gases produced from the livestock have a lifespan of 12 years. If all the animals in the world were slaughtered in the morning, emissions would stop, and in the space of 12 years, their effect on greenhouse gases would be removed. The opposite to this are the emissions generated from the burning of fossil fuels, which take over 200 years to be removed from the atmosphere. The vegan diet, which is based on plants, requires large agricultural machinery for both planting and harvesting of said crops. While each machine requires diesel, billions of litres of diesel are used in order to produce the crops the vegans plan on eating. Better for the planet, I ask you? As for people, a noun used to refer to members of a particular nation or community. I am a member of the farming community, along with my teammates and along with most of you here today. If we were to consider the planet, I am not sure how killing 22.4 billion farm animals will, in order to fulfil the dietary requirements of a vegan, is good for the planet. The vegan diet is an unsustainable diet. Vegans have a glorified opinion of the planet, that each acre used in animal agriculture will be able to be cultivated and used to grow crops, while nothing is further from the truth. Call up to Mayo some weekend and I'll show you where you won't grow crops. We keep 200 Joes and layer lambs in the wild Nafanbeg range. The range is an area of conservation, forest and bogland, which is home to wild heathers and ferns. Since being preserved a number of years ago, all the roads have been removed, and the only access currently is by foot. Try and grow wheat or barley here, and it won't take long for a famine. One of them is enough for any country. Avocados, a vegan alternative. A vegan food where over 50% of the Irish supply is sourced from Mexico. Now let me tell you this. There are rogues in every society. Are any of you here aware that the drug cartels control Mexico's avocado trade, from production to distribution? Avocados sell for 60 pesos per kilo in Mexico, while the average weekly wage is 65 pesos. This is neither better for the people of Mexico nor for the planet. Vegan diets are resulting in a falsely increased prices for plant-based foods. The local people of Mexico have had one of the main components of their staple diet removed. For what? To satisfy the dietary requirements of a fad diet. While their avocados have to travel over 5,000 miles to get to us here in Ireland. Now, do you think that's better for the planet? You are all going to be bombarded with information from the proposition here today. But please, do not overlook what I have just told you. Do not ignore these real problems and join me and my team in opposing the motion that vegan diets are better for people and planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Shane. Again, we'll give a moment to the judges to note their scores. And let me now introduce again Laura from Caffrey, who's going to be a member of the proposition.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, judges, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to strongly second the proposed motion that vegan diets are better for people and the planet. In reference to Speaker 2, we are not here to kill all the farm animals. We're merely here to say that vegans are better for the planet. Nearly a quarter of Irish people are obese, and with 30% of young people being overweight, a vegan diet can help combat this current obesity problem here in the Emerald Isle, with the added benefit of having the strain of the already burnt out National Health Service. In reference to Speaker 1, recent research discovered that Irish people who are overweight and obese are costing a staggering €1.7 billion of taxpayers' money annually. On this happy day, where there's lots of love in the air, this is both worrying and a saddening state of affairs. Wouldn't you agree? So, what can veganism offer us, the people? Veganism can provide many health benefits, such as reduced heart disease and cholesterol. It has been found that veganism diets can reduce heart disease by 40%. As Steph has previously stated, veganism can be described as a practice of not eating or using any animal products, such as meat and milk, just to name a few. Additionally, veganism is often described as a lifestyle rather than a diet. Veganism is a term no longer used to describe the stereotypical hippy-dippy consumer. It has now become a valued diet adopted by many across Ireland and the world. In fact, well-known athletes such as Sister Serena and Venus Williams, NFL player Tom Bradley, and world heavyweight boxer champion David Haye, none of which can be described as hippy-dippy anything. In fact, respected public bodies such as the British Dietetics Association have recognised that a well-planned vegan diet is suitable for every age and at every stage of life. In recent years, our heads have been filled with health scares such as cancer and heart disease. The health benefits of vegan diets, are the #1 reason why we, the consumer, opt for the vegan diet. Harvard research concluded that 12 various diets analysed found that vegan diets lost the most weight due to their diet consisting of less saturated fat and more fibre, promoting the catchy saying, feeling fuller on fewer calories. I have a somewhat gut feeling about this. The well-known saying, healthy body, healthy mind, is adopted by the very well-known food company Nestle in their recent research into spelin, which is a special algae aiding a healthy gut and in return a healthy mind. Another contributing factor to many consumers adopting a vegan diet is cost. Recent research has found that those who eat meat spend a whopping £645 extra a week on their on their food compared to those who don't. I'm sure many of us here in the audience today could think of plenty of other ways to spend this new disposable income. I think it's important to note that veganism is not a fad, which Stephanie has already previously stated. Veganism is growing within the UK and Ireland at a growing rate. Stats such as there's now 4 times more vegans in the UK than there are in the previous 4 years most indefinitely proves this. In reference to Speaker 1, let me take you back a couple thousand years to the cavemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Laura. And once again, the judges have made their final calculation. Thank you very much. And it's now for the third opposition speaker, Michael. Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, judges, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Michael Martin and I would like to formally oppose the motion that vegan diets are better for people and planet. We live in a world that's forever evolving, forever changing, forever creating new ideas and new wonders. Today, we encounter new challenges and new problems. Today, that challenge is vegan-led lifestyles. At first, it was vegetarianism, and now it's vegan. And along with vegan is the idea we can solve all our environmental issues if we turn vegan. Let me put something to bed. The opposition spoke to us about the health implications of a diet containing meat and dairy. According to the RCSI, fracture rates are a third higher among the vegan population compared to a normal diet. This is due to a lack of calcium. The opposition are trying to persuade you with their warfare whispers, facts and statistics that vegan lifestyles are healthier for your body and contribute only positively in your diet. According to the WHO, 52% of women with a history of eating disorders had been vegan at one point. Vegan diets do not suffice a well-balanced diet. No vegan diet can give you sufficient B12, a key vitamin to develop the nervous system and produce red blood cells.
You can get B12 from other things such as like lentils and...
It doesn't give you sufficient B12. Without B12, people will suffer from extreme exhaustion, digestion issues and mental delays in children. Such deficiencies can cause irreversible nerve damage. On billboards, the length and breadth of our Emerald Isle, you can find vegan marketing and vegan advertisements. This is dangerous and this is leading our nation into a sense of false hope and mistaken identity. Today, I want to highlight the serious health implications of a vegan diet on our world's population. When I was in 5th year secondary school, I was playing sport and enjoying life. I had a cousin who I grew up alongside from a young age. We'd been classmates and true friends. When I'd known her first, she was carefree and happy. However, when she hit her mid-teens, she was bombarded with unrealistic expectations of what her body and image should be. What started out as something small, before long turned to something more sinister. At the age of 17, she decided to overhaul her lifestyle and become vegan. As a beef farmer, I thought it was strange, but I didn't mind and I said nothing. After a year of veganism, she stopped going to school. At the time, it was said she was suffering from asthma. She'd been diagnosed with anorexia and was in Dublin undergoing treatment. I visited her and she'd become so thin that her body began to grow hair to keep itself warm, as her fat reserves had diminished to almost nothing. Her body had eaten away anything there was left, as she'd been depriving herself of essential nutrients and vitamins for life. She was so bad, she couldn't physically speak for 4 weeks. This was my stark introduction to vegan diets. Today, 3 years later, she was recovered and has begun eating meat again. When I asked her about a vegan lifestyle, she said, "At the start, it's all green and clean. You feel like you're healthier and contributing more to life. But that all changes. It becomes an obsession." She said your body can't cope eating meat-free dinners and vegetables. She said within 4 weeks of becoming vegan, she lost 1.5 stone. Let me tell you this. According to the Irish Medical Journal, 22% of vegans under the age of 25 become anorexic. That is a frightening statistic that every parent in this world should be aware of. On paper, the vegan lifestyle works. It's good for the environment and healthy for people. In fairness to the opposition, they've all the typical textbook answers. If I say cow's milk, they say coconut milk. If I say steak, they say mushroom. If I say chicken, they say beans. But if I say anorexia, you'll not hear them say rapid weight loss, mental health issues, body breakdown, lack of key nutrients and calcium deficiencies. Here's a take-home message. The first people on planet Earth ate meat for food. As a result, they survived hundreds of thousands of years. Today, we're being pushed away from meat. Today, we're being told no future for meat. But I can say with certainty, sustainably produced meat in Ireland has a future. Sustainably produced meat in Ireland is breaking new ground and showing the world how to live sustainably. Meat has a future on our planet. I don't want a meat-free burger that was designed and grown in a test tube. I want the real deal. We all want to make a difference in how we live healthier, and that difference doesn't mean turning vegan. That difference means choosing sustainably produced foods that don't travel hundreds of thousands of kilometres to get here. It means choosing foods that are grown on our small but powerful island. Despite the rhetoric from the opposition, I urge you, vegan diets are not, and will never be, better for people and planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Michael. Again, we give the judges time to note their scores. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let me now take an opportunity to introduce my namesake, Tara from Caffrey. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's lovely to have the opportunity to speak to you again today. Thank you to the judging panel for that. As I stated in our previous debate, I am the daughter of a small-scale arable farmer back in County Antrim. I spoke about how the blame for climate change was put on us farmers. However, the tables have now turned, as veganism relies heavily on the support of arable farmers here in Ireland. It is no secret that we in Ireland love our food. A Big Mac on a Friday night, or a Sunday roast made by Mammy, obviously supplied by Don Meats. Rarely do we stop and think of the consequences that these seemingly innocent meals have on our environment. While the world's population has doubled since the 1960s, world meat production has quadrupled. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations predicts that by 2050, world meat production will have doubled. This trend can only continue to contribute to global warming, widespread pollution, deforestation, water scarcity, and species extinction. More animals mean more crops are needed to feed them. The planet cannot feed both increasing human and animal population. This is eating up our valuable land. Human population is to grow by 3 billion people by 2050. How can we produce enough food to sustain our hungry diets? Food and land security is fast becoming a widespread issue. The FAO estimate that 1 in 9 people are chronically malnourished. Even if we solve the global problems of pollution, deforestation, and water scarcity, land availability would still be one of the main constraints on food production. Put simply, we do not have enough land to feed a growing population on animal-based diets. Why would we feed grain to animals instead of our own malnourished nations? Plant-based diets require 1/3 of the land needed to support a person with a meat and dairy-fueled diet. Taking diet and animal welfare issues out of the equation, the impact livestock has on the environment should be reason enough to promote a vegan diet. It only takes 0.4 pounds of carbon dioxide to produce a portion of broccoli and cauliflower. These staple vegetables can be grown here in our own land in Ireland. However, it takes 10 pounds of carbon dioxide to produce just 1 6-ounce steak. That is 25 times more. Fossil fuels are used to transport animals and power the production of their feed. If everyone in the United States went vegan for 1 single day, they would prevent 1.2 million tonnes of CO2 emissions and save 70 million gallons of fuel. Those are facts that you cannot argue with. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Tara. Again, we'll take a moment for the judges to note their scores. So now let me take an opportunity to introduce you to the final member of the opposition, Danielle.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, judges, members of the proposition, ladies and gentlemen. I will speak to you today about why vegan diet would not be better for we as a people, as a community and as an industry, because this is an unviable and economy-ruining fad diet. But first, I would like to come back to some points that Speaker 2 made. Vegan diets are suitable for everyone at any stage of the life. Really, did you enter this world and think I'd like to drink almond milk? Real milk comes from mammals, and everything else is nuts. We heard a lot from the proposition today about climate change. And yes, while it is a problem, we can't place blame on the meat industry. To rebut this false information the proposition have provided, scientific evidence proves otherwise. Scientific researcher and agrobiologist Albert Glatz has proven there is no scientific evidence whatsoever that livestock could cause any risk to climate change. Between 1990 and 2005, the world cattle population rose by more than 100 million head. During this time, atmospheric methane concentration stabilised completely. Another message which the proposition have falsely provided is how animal agriculture uses more water than plant production. Well, researchers from Carnegie University in the USA have found that some vegetables actually require more water and energy to produce than meat, which results in higher greenhouse gas emissions, and eating lettuce is over 3 times worse in greenhouse gas emissions than eating bacon. As defined earlier by Michael, the word people refers to every man, woman and child. The proposition have not once spoke to you about the economy and the despair this would cause to every person sitting in this room, every person in this country and everyone in the entire world. There are over 570 million farms in the world. 90% of these are family run. Now, would you, as Caffrey, like to put 513 million farms, family farms, out of business? The fact is that animal agriculture is a very important source of income. It is the world's largest business. Now, I'm going to use our country as an example of many countries like us which would not see any benefit with vegan diets. Our country did not have an industrial boom. Our biggest asset is our food. Now, the proposition cannot say we should focus on cereal production, because according to CSO, 84% of our land is devoted to animal agriculture. That just leaves 9% for cereal production. This is because of our weather, ladies and gentlemen. The one thing we are good at here in Ireland, other than having the crack, is growing grass. Would you, as agricultural and food students, like to see 84% of our land go to waste here in Ireland? According to the CSO, milk and beef output dominate the Irish agricultural industry. They account for 61% of total agricultural goods output. Now, you think that cereal outputs must have some value. Well, when you compare milk and meat at €938 million in comparison to cereals at merely €6 million, it really hits home. Enough about facts and figures, because we can argue our point all day with them. I am a person. Vegan diets are not better or never will be better for me. As an agricultural student and a third-generation beef farmer, my career in the agricultural industry and my life could be ruined by vegan diets. Ladies and gentlemen, farming looks mighty easy when your wellies are brown loafers or high heels and your overalls are tailored suits or frilly frocks. I urge you all to uphold this motion. Let's not sit back and let this fad diet ruin an economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danielle. And we'll just give our judges an opportunity to close off on that vote. We're good. So our final speaker now from the proposition, I'd like to introduce you to Conor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Following our delicious dinner last night, I enjoyed a couple of creamy pints of the black stuff. And yeah, I know you did too, hiding behind your coffee. And so you may be surprised to hear that your pint of Guinness is vegan friendly. After 2.5 centuries, Guinness have stopped using fish bladders in their brewing process. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't miss the fish platters from my pint last night. And I could have probably enjoyed it a bit more if my teammates didn't restrain me. So, anyway, thank you guys. Stephanie has already touched upon how veganism is not a fad. And if it's good enough to be recognised by those at St James's Gate, it's good enough for me. Veganism is no longer seen as a hippy-dippy consumer trend, as Laura pointed out. It's a valued diet, and our processors, manufacturers and retailers have realised this. Just earlier today, it was revealed that supermarket giant Tesco will be landing a new plant-based steak across 400 of its UK stores. Nestlé, the largest worldwide food company, who generate an annual revenue of $78.9 billion. As more and more consumers swap meat and dairy foods for those leafy greens, Nestlé wants to turn this popular diet and lifestyle choice into a billion-dollar industry.
Where are they sourcing their vegetables from? Is it all Irish produce or is it from
Who's this now?
the Tesco that are importing these steaks? Where are they sourcing their vegetables to make these steaks?
Can I get back to that? Thank you very much. Okay. Doran, another leading market share giant, are looking into milk-free ranges following their $10 billion purchase of White Waves. Money talks. Some of the largest internationally recognised food companies are preparing for plant-based futures. So who are the opposition here today to argue with that? Closer to home, and when I say closer to home, I mean Hillsborough, County Down, where I'm from. These are changes is a-coming. Finnebrogue, a highly successful venison producer in Northern Ireland, have invested £3 million, not euros, into a purpose-built factory for manufacturing vegan products. Now, as a young food student, as we all are on stage, that is a potential job opportunity for us in the future. Yet another area where veganism is a benefit in my pocket. So what are our processors, manufacturers and retailers going to offer the vegan customers? We in Ireland love our potatoes, but the opportunity for vegan products goes far and beyond the humble spud. With no meat, fish or eggs, what can vegans include in their diets? I, for one, look forward to seeing what the agri-food industry has to create and meet the rising consumer demand. And I hope to be a part of that in this future. The agri-food industry cannot bury its head. It simply cannot, and hope that veganism will just disappear. That would be foolish and naive. We today all pride ourselves on innovation shown in products made by local manufacturers. I look forward to our sponsors today, Don Meats, McDonald's, responding to the growing population of vegans in the next 1, 2, and 5 years' time. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Conor. Yet again, we'll give the judges a moment to note their scores. So we've heard from each team now, and I'd like to invite Michael back for his closing arguments from the opposition. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chairperson, I'm delighted once again to have this opportunity to be here and prove to you again that vegan diets are not better for any person's planet and not better for any person's diet. A motion which I find myself increasingly frustrating. As a producer of meat myself, with a heritage of meat producers long before me, I am not just this, but I am also a consumer with an increasing awareness to the sector. To summarise our argument, ladies and gentlemen, vegan diets are not healthier for people. A diet that lacks key vitamins and nutrients and that relies on supplements in a tablet format, this is not a healthier alternative as suggested by the proposition. Apart from damaging our physical health, it damages our mental one too, as Michael has woken you up to. There has been strong links proven between mental health and eating disorders. Vegan diets are not good for our people in the context of economy. And as for the fallout from switching away from meat and dairy, it would have catastrophic consequences on our ag industry. We have proven that in order to import avocados is contrary to the argument that it is better for the environment. Similarly, that it is also of the diesel and water required to grow these crops. As caretakers of this earth, we are fighting back. We as people want to protect our heritage without throwing it back in the faces of the people who have strived to get us where we are today. I think, yes, there are rogues in every walk of life, and I think it is pretty clear from listening to the opposition who the rogues are here today. There is a huge lot of work to be done. We are not denying this in any way. As we each continue to reduce our own personal carbon footprint by doing something so simple as sourcing produce locally and not having to travel thousands of airplane miles to get here. Climate change is happening, but we do not need to get down on our knees and graze with the animals on our farms to counteract this. As I said earlier, we are a nation which is better educated. We are producing and providing in a manner which is second to none. Our animal welfare standards are state of the art. I accept there is room for improvement, but with bodies such as Bord Bia and processors like Dawn Meats, we have improved our traceability standards from farm to fork. We, as human beings, are merely just caretakers of this earth, and we want to ensure that we leave this earth in a better place than the way we got it for our futures. Before you all pack up and go home, I want you to ask yourselves, leaving aside what the opposing team has said to you, if you were ever placed in the care of a young infant, or a young animal for that matter, do you seriously think by depriving them of some of the most natural and some of the most organic sources of vitamins and minerals that this can be done by giving them in a tablet format and reducing their meat intake? But rather place this by giving them a tablet form. Are vegan diets really better for our people and planet? People, you have been presented with various different arguments, but there is clearly only one outcome and one winner. The argument is unviable and it is unsustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. 1 pint of beer and we're over the limit. 1 cocktail sausage and we've eaten too much pork. We must only drink half a pint of milk daily and forget cheese on the same day. The good news is, ladies and gentlemen, that we get to eat 18 times as much dry beans, soya and nuts. Sounds lovely. The fact of the matter is, lads, that living is dangerous, and the older we get, the more dangerous it becomes. But by eating all this meat and drinking all this milk, we have managed to somehow live longer than any previously known generation. A vegan diet is a slippery slope to veganism. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Oppose this motion, and thank you.
Thank you for that, Michael, and for wrapping up the opposition's argument to this particular debate. We'll give the judges just a moment to take their markings. Fantastic, and I'll now open the floor to Stephanie to close the proposition's arguments.
Good afternoon, yet again, for the final time of the Great Agri-Food Debate 2019. Madam Chairperson, adjudicators, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my team, the proposition, today. Just to remind you of the title of this final debate, vegan diets are better for people and for planet. I appreciate the arguments that the opposition have thrown at us today, but unfortunately, they're stuck in the past. Even Taoiseach Leo Varadkar is consuming less meat on both health and environmental grounds. As UCD debated earlier today, farming is advancing. Farming is developing. Meat, eggs, butter, these traditional foods of the Irish people must also advance and develop. Shane, you mentioned how machinery to harvest feed is bad and uses lots of fuel. But how do you feed your livestock? I'm sure you use some form of machinery. I might have to take you up on the offer to visit Mayo. I am not telling everyone here today to make a change. I'm not telling you all to become vegan. But what I am telling you is what we all already know and what has been shown to us here in this debate today. Vegan diets are better for people and for the planet. Speaker 3, in reference to your earlier statement, there is only potential for veganism to cause osteoporosis. There is no accurate and reliable evidence for this. A proper doctoral consultation is the only answer and would be probably what I would advise. The reasons for adapting a vegan diet have been well covered today by my teammates and I. Health, cost and environment are a few of the areas which we have touched upon, and I believe that we have done this in a respectful way that is appreciative of the agri-food industry. Michael, not good for our economy, our agricultural industry? How can this be true when Finnebrook have opened this bespoke £3 million plant? We do not hate farmers. We are farmers. To reiterate what I mentioned in my introduction, if a farmer is standing here telling you that vegan diets are better for people and planet, you best believe it. All the motions in this year's Great Agri-Food debate have been about sustainability and climate change, and I am glad to say that a vegan diet promotes both of these. Veganism is not a threat to our industry. It's an opportunity. In the words of the Irish rugby team, Ireland, Ireland, together standing tall, shoulder to shoulder, we are answering Ireland's vegan call. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Stephanie, for wrapping up the position of the proposition. And we'll now give the judges a final opportunity to note all of their scorings there. From my perspective, I'd like to say well done to both teams. It was a fascinating debate on what is a genuinely hot topic in the agri-food industry at the moment. So I know. However, just in the interest of keeping the suspense going a little bit longer, I'm going to invite Peter McLaughlin from WIT, who'd like to say a couple of words to you all. It's terrible, isn't it?
I promise I'm not going to keep you long in suspense. I thought, first of all, I'd just like to, on behalf of WIT, I really would like to acknowledge the huge success of this year's Great Agri-Food debate. From plastics to climate change to vegan diets, we've had the privilege of listening to a myriad of views from our future food innovators. This highly entertaining and informative event could not have been possible without the hard work and enthusiasm and the professionalism of a host of people. Firstly, I want to thank Dawn Meats and McDonald's for their foresight in organising and supporting this fantastic showcase event for the agri-food sector. In particular, I would like to thank Paul Nolan and David O'Flynn for their work in supporting the overall event, making it so informative, and if you were at last night's meal, making it so enjoyable as well. I was also delighted to see Dan Brown here from Dawn Meats attending this afternoon event, so I was delighted to see him here. There could be no event without the moderators, and you can see the stress that it's generated in trying to fill in time throughout the last 2 days, but also to the judges who had the unenviable task of choosing winners in a competition which was packed with brilliant speakers and exceptional team spirit. I'd like to acknowledge the work of all of the judges, but I would also just to highlight one and give special thanks to the German ambassador, Diki Potzel, for taking the time out of her very, very busy schedule to attend yesterday's evening event and today as well. As you are all aware, this year's event has grown with participants from across the island of Ireland. In the background to each of the teams is the staff who have put a huge amount of time and effort into preparing and supporting all of the teams. I'd like to thank them for their help, support and making the Great Agri-Food debate such an enjoyable and nationally relevant event. Finally, to all of the teams who participated, I can only offer my sincere admiration and thanks for your energy, enthusiasm, hard work and professionalism, which demonstrates, after a day and a half of talks, that the future of the agri-food sector is indeed a bright one. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Peter. I'd now like to take an opportunity to invite each of our 3 judges just to make a couple of comments. I'll start off with Elaine, if you'd like to join us here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elaine Stereo. I'd just like to say thank you very much for the entertaining afternoon that we've had here this afternoon. I am from McDonald's, but I've worked in the restaurants all the way up, and the devil is in the detail. So as much as you all put your passion behind everything, thank you very much for the research that you put into this topic. I myself am not loving it. Vegans, you know, yourself. But there's room for every type of diet in the world, and that's the way we look at things. Nice, modern, moderate, balanced lifestyle. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it, and good luck to you. Didn't make it easy for us, but good luck to the winners and to all of you in your studies. Okay, thank you.
Can I call on Brendan to give a couple of comments as well? Thank you, Brendan.
Hi everybody, I wasn't expecting to have to do this, so just a couple of sincere words. There'll be people here who say I never say sincere words, but anyway, these are. So first of all, I thought the quality of the debate was extraordinary, and in my job you often have to appear before Oireachtas committees and you're grilled by politicians, but I'm really glad I wasn't on this stage today because I wouldn't have enjoyed trying to rebut some of the very strong argumentation. So the quality was extraordinarily high. This morning in the RDS there was an Agri-Jobs fair. The Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine had a stand there, and I was in for the last debate before lunch and for the final debate. And if you are interested in the topics you're talking about here, the one before lunch was on the value of subsidies, the nature of subsidies, the future strategy for the food sector. If you're interested in those things, think about a job in the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine. So this is an advertisement for the civil service, but I think that people who have reflected, young people who have reflected on these things deeply and who are able to argue as strongly and as forcefully and as passionately as you have, our door will be open to you. So please think about that for the future. I suppose when you're a civil servant, you can't be driven by ideology. You have to look at the facts, and you'll have stakeholders who have different views on different issues. But as a civil servant, you have to look at things in the cold light of day, look at the facts, present them to ministers and government, and then let ministers and government make policy decisions. So I must say, what really impressed me today was the grasp you all had of so many facts, and obviously it was based on research done really quickly and then delivered in an extraordinarily articulate way. So, I mean, you should all be proud of yourselves. It's a tremendous achievement to get here at all, to be here in the final. So I just want to say congratulations, and it was a very difficult decision that had to be made. But you're a credit to your institutions and your parents and to yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that, Brendan. And final judge, if I can ask Niall to say a couple of words.
Thank you, Tara, and well done on your moderating. And I believe that you could have gone on for another hour speaking while the judges were deliberating, so that's fantastic. And we probably could have spent a bit longer away, but we decided maybe we should just hurry things up because apparently there's a drinks reception afterwards, and seeing as it's Rag Week in WIT, some of the students might be enthusiastic to go to the bar. So first of all, I'd like to thank WIT for the fantastic event that you've given us here with this facility. It's excellent, and we were able to facilitate the various debates and breakout rooms, so it was very generous that you had that available to us. Our fellow sponsors in the Great Agri Debate, McDonald's, and also our other sponsors, thank you very much. This debate has now gone on for 2 days. When we started this 4 years ago, the debate was actually between 2 teams from 1 college. So now we're up to 7 third-level colleges, which is fantastic in 4 years. And hopefully we might add another college or 2 next year to keep it even more interesting. And also, we're delighted that it's now an all-island competition. And well done to both teams in the final. I'm not going to reveal, so I'm not going to look either way. But well done to all the colleges and all the teams from yesterday and today. It was excellent. On the prize front, just to keep things a little bit more interesting, and considering it's the great agri debate, we are going to invite both sets of teams, and I'm not going to reveal which is which, but one team will go to visit the Dunbia facility in Dungannon and see retail packing and the primary facility, and the other team will visit the packing and the primary facility in Waterford. So everybody's a winner from that point of view. And well done to everyone, and thank you very much to everybody in McDonald's and Dawn Meats that helped organise it, because it's no small feat, and well done to everybody involved. Thank you.
And a final plug on behalf of Board BIA. We'd love all of you to work in the food industry as well. We have 70 vacancies that we are recruiting for at the moment. Those 70 are for educational placements that we have, particularly overseas, and the deadline for applying for them is the 4th of March for any graduates or those with some work experience. We're relatively agnostic to your background. We will train you to what we want you to get to, but we will have placements and bursaries for you connected with the Smurfit Business School for those who are interested in researching that as a career choice as well, with opportunities ranging from supply chain, marketing, insight, etc. So we'd love to hear from all of you as well. An unashamed plug following Brendan's example. Anyway, enough of this.
Sorry, just to interrupt, Don.
Okay. So,
you also have overseas positions, and you also get to get your hands dirty and learn from the bottom up. It's also very important.
now, on to what we're on about here today. What I'd like to go through now is the winners, and we're going through each of the specific speakers that we're awarding, first of all, and we're going to go through the quarterfinals, first quarterfinal, etc., and work up through the day as to the winning speaker of that. Before I announce the winning speaker for quarterfinal 1, can I ask Ronan Clinton from EY to come, first of all, to the stage to join us to make that presentation? Fantastic. And I'm delighted to announce that the winning speaker for the quarterfinal 1 is from IT Tralee, Catherine Henley.
So ask somebody come down.
Unless somebody wants to come down to represent Catherine to take her prize. Fantastic. Well done, Catherine. That was mean. Okay. Thank you. So, for the second quarter final, I'd like to first of all welcome Gareth McGee from Bank of Ireland to come down and make the presentation. And the prize for the winning speaker in quarter final 2 goes to UCD, Isabel Toner. Well done, Isabel. A long journey down. So moving things on now. So for quarter-final 3, I'd like to invite Tony Murphy from AIB to present the prize. And the winner of that prize is from WIT, Michael Martin. Now, moving on to the semi-final. So first of all, I'd like to invite Owen McGuinness from Bank of Ireland to present the prize. And the winning speaker is again from UCD, and it is Simon Lanigan. Well done, Simon. Fantastic. Moving on to the second semi-final, I'd like to invite Cathal O'Connor from AIB to present the prize. And the winner of the semi-final, the second semi-final speaker is from UCC, and it is Meg Minahan. Well done, Meg. And Carl's going to stay for the final prize, and the final speaker for the finalist prize again goes to WIT and again goes to Michael Martin. So, all that remains to be done is to announce the final team winning piece. Before I do that, let me just remind you once again there is a drinks reception for everybody to go to afterwards. But without any further delay, and we know it took ages because we were waiting for you to come back, so it was clearly a very difficult choice for you. But the winning team today of the 2019 Great Agri-Food Debate is WIT. So if the team would like to come and receive their well-deserved prize.